And go. Come in. We come before you today with the newest champion, Jennifer Lynch, the first place winner in her height class. Are you always going to be D? Or is that like
or E or
I guess
F
it depends.
or...
True story. And so height class D, and after 35 years of age, she is the champion. Yay! Congratulations to the strongest person on our team.
Oh, please.
Jennifer Lynch.
I'm like, you might be able to see muscle, but I ain't got no grip. I can't open stuff half the time. I struggle to hold a bar.
That's so funny. Well, she used to not be able to do a push-up or a pull-up, and so now
No, I could not.
I'm fairly certain she can do a lot of those now.
Max is 3.
Seriously, still?
And then at 4, I'm like paddling like Flintstones.
That helps. Like pushing
It
yourself.
does.
I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so after the show, I'm an aggressive dance mom, but I'll get
Yes, she is.
So I didn't realize this. So I knew I was a dance mom. Jennifer always tells me I'm a dance mom, but I didn't realize how aggressive I can get because all I can focus on is the wind. And my friend Antoinette says, "Congratulations, Jen." Jen says, "Congratulations, Jen. You kill it." Yes, she does. Yes, she does. So after the show is over, I go out into the lobby, and I'm just sitting there patiently. The lobby
with everyone.
Yes, with everyone. All the competitors are there. It's getting their pictures taken. Their coaches are there. Whatever. I'm texting Jen. I'm like, "Did you disappear?" And then she pops out. The first thing she said, "It's not congratulations. You're amazing." Like for me, it's like you got fucking robbed.
See, in the moment. It just takes over.
It does. I got so upset. Ignore that little word I just said. Anyway, aggressive dance mom comes out. So the moral of the story is Nicole can't have kids or at least put them in dance or cheer or gym or she's like, shut up.
I don't know what's around.
And
of course I'm like, being positive Polly over here, like, well, you don't know what she had to go through to get to this point.
Yeah, clearly nothing because you got robbed. Anyway, but Jen really did look phenomenal on stage. It's not just me being a psychopath dance mom or a cheer mom or a bodybuilder mom. I guess I don't know. Stage mom. I guess stage mom.
True stage mom. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, so fun. Man. So fun. And of course I'm always like, no, nobody has to come. And then when people are there, and then when you're there, I'm like, oh, that was so nice that they came. Because I don't need anybody there screaming and cheering. Like, I tune it out for the most part, and I'm just thinking about, like, the judges. But you do still hear and see you guys.
Well, yeah, and it's not necessarily like your friends and your family. You always want to be there to support. That's like imagine your kid. Like you're not my kid, but like if you had kids and they were in sports, like no, they don't need you to be there.
Yeah.
But it's nice to be able to able to be there for that other person. So
yeah, it's fun.
I get it. It was a lot of fun. In fact, where do we go afterwards? Jen got to eat for one day.
Oh my gosh, I OD'd on sweets. Like if I would have not ate. The many things I can't even like rattle down the list of sweets that I ate within like just 30 minutes of coming off stage. Then I probably would have ate more at Doghouse.
Oh yeah. We
But
went to Doghouse in Bethesda afterwards, which is
so good.
I guess like a hot dog, chicken, like hamburger, like delicious beer garden type place. Oh man, it was so good.
Really yums.
Yeah. She had the bad mother clucka, I think is the
bad mother clucka. Fried chicken sandwich.
Yeah, it was the best sandwich that they had.
It's like Hawaiian rolls, like 4 Hawaiian rolls make one burger. So we just like boop boop, cut it down and so good.
It's true. Me, her, and her coach were sitting there splitting everything, so we weren't nearly as bad as it could have been.
Yeah. Those loaded tots were good. The chili tots.
They were so good.
Oh, and that Cabernet Spritzer.
Yeah, it's like the Cabernet Spritzer had all sorts of stuff in it. It had like gin and Cabernet and
ginger beer. That was really a nice treat.
Lemon. It was nice. It was like a really tasty sangria. Aretha says, "Congratulations, Jennifer!" Yeah.
Hey, Kelly.
So
it's fun.
Yeah, she is. Good morning.
Yeah. So that was cool. That was good.
Awesome.
Good food.
But even though Jen was in prep all last week and she was about to go on the stage, she still had time to have learning moments and everything else. So that's like, it's like real estate doesn't stop. Or like your job doesn't stop whenever you're doing this. Now maybe one day this gets to be a form of payment when she goes pro and wins the world and all the things.
You don't actually make much money in the sport. The money is made behind the scenes of the sport. Like anything,
That's true, but what you learn? What did you learn last week in the real estate world?
What did I learn? Communication with appraisers is so key. So, I mean, we kind of talked about that last time, but we didn't have the appraisal back yet.
Yeah, which was great. So this is the first time, well, Jennifer and I have done a lot of deals together as far as like one of us is on the list side, one of us is on the buy side. But we've never had, like, we knew that the appraisal could potentially go sideways. This time, we knew it.
Yeah.
We knew that, like, there was crazy stuff going on. The unit above, was it the third floor?
Third floor.
Yeah, the unit on the third floor we thought was under contract for something that was way higher than it actually was. Well, I think it was under contract that high, and then the appraisal came back low. So we found out. So needless to say, we packaged up these comps and we presented them to the appraiser, and we both met the appraiser at the property and had this conversation. We were prepared for this thing to come back $10,000, $20,000 low. Like the reality is that's what we were prepared for. But God blessed us with the most incredible appraiser in the entire world.
He was wonderful.
And because we had a united front and we both provided information, we were both saying like, no, this is what everybody wants. He did everything he absolutely could, and he got us to the contract value,
price,
which was so incredible. I think a couple of weeks ago when we were first talking about this, we're like, yeah, it's going to come back $10,000 low, because that's what he told us the last time we talked. He said that it was going to. He's like, we could probably get you to 575. Yep. And we're like, all right, well, if we get to 575, we can make this work, because, you know.
Love him for preparedness for the worst.
For sure. 6 months ago, we thought it was going to be at 545. Like, that was the original cost 6 months ago. And with everything else in the way that it's been moving in the neighborhood, we're like, all right, well, we're going to go for 585. And sure enough, he came back and he said, believe it or not, based on the comps that you provided and the adjustments that we're able to make for luxury inputs and things like that, he's like, we got you to value.
Yeah.
So
she did beautiful work today.
Yeah.
Beautiful work.
I wrote the listing description yesterday when I finally put it in the MLS. The end of it says, it's a true work of art.
Yeah,
it really is.
That bathroom is, man.
Yeah, it really is beautiful.
Bath.
So the moral of the story is who you work with matters, and make sure that like you're called a co-op agent for a reason. That means you are cooperating. Yeah, you are cooperating to make sure that you're doing the best thing for your people. Both. It's not a battle. It doesn't have to be a battle. So if your folks want it and the listing agent wants, then you both can collaborate in order to provide value to that appraiser, because that's the part of the process that can completely knock somebody out.
Yeah. And when we thought that it was going to come in lower than contract, like I was already having that conversation with the buyers, like
do you got
preparing them for the
$10,000? You're gonna bring it up?
Like, what are you going to want to do? Do you love it?
Yeah.
Do you want to walk? If it doesn't come in, do you want to pay? Like, there's no harm, no foul to the seller.
Yeah.
You don't slap that thing on the market.
Well, it's true. And that was a conversation that we had ahead of time with everybody involved, because we were concerned, because we learned things about VA appraisal. It's a VA loan too, by the way. And so like we're concerned because VA appraisers tend to be a little bit more conservative. Yeah, a little bit more conservative with everything. But that's because we learned it's because of the investors. So the investors who are buying these loans are very specific on the types of comps that they're able to use. And so they can't use other comps that we would necessarily want them to use with a conventional loan.
They can, they just don't like to see that.
Correct.
So they'll give pushback.
Correct. So they were able to use one of them, and they were able to use the one in the building and then the high-rise penthouse, which was a cool thing to see, because we've felt every appraiser is different. They are not all created equal. That is for certain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the tag team update.
Yeah, tag team update. Yeah, because it was like we were going to talk about the same thing for sure.
Oh yeah, and then this other one. I mean, it was just kind of just like a reminder that, you know, a lot of buyers agents are just out here opening doors, showing properties without doing any extra diligence before showing up. Don't show a property in a community that has an annual, what's that fee called in Embry?
Oh, God. Oh. Delaria, what is it called? What is it called? Is it this? I'm going to remember it and scream it in a second.
Yeah. Oh, that's killing me. Anyway,
but it's a secondary fee on top of the HOA that goes. It's basically an amenity fee, because they put so much stuff.
Yeah.
CDA.
Thank you.
CDA.
Yeah. Don't show a property with the CDA. You know it's not going anywhere. If your folks aren't comfortable paying an extra fee, why bother going to see that house?
It's 30 years.
Yeah.
Like it's not crazy, because the more and more neighborhoods we see are popping up around this area that are like truly planned developments with massive amenities. They all have it, and that's what you get for having an agility dog park and 16 pools and an amphitheater and community gardens and all sorts of stuff. Yeah. Sounds incredible for your community. It means you never have to leave.
Yeah. It's just frustrating to get feedback that there's literally nothing you can do to change that. So it's like having to relay that to the sellers, again, expectation management, told them up front, people are going to show the property who aren't actually ready to purchase this property in this neighborhood. It's just what happens. So it just sucks to see that as feedback and have to, tell your sellers, well, that couple did, or that, buyer didn't like it because of something that you have no control over.
That's actually the majority of the feedback that I've been getting this year is something like that. And part of it makes me laugh. I'm like, then why did you show the house? Like why aren't you managing your clients' expectations? Are they coming off of Zillow and you're just trying to meet them so you show them?
Right. And there's respect with that kind of feedback too.
Sure.
Like I'll do that if I'm going out for the first or second time with a client and we're still filtering down that pool of what they want. I'll let the agent know in the feedback, listen, we're very early. I'll let them know before we go, we're very early in the search. Not expecting to be writing on this, but this is more so like us tailoring their needs and figuring out. And if it works out, great. And if not, great. I just want to let you know up front so that you're not holding your breath, anticipating something that.
Right. And I appreciate that too, because I do get a lot of phone calls from agents who are saying that, which is great and it's super respectful. It's wonderful to hear from both sides. Jana says, way to go, Jen.
Thank you.
And then Kelly says, I can't stop looking at your hair. Her hair is gorgeous. I like this. I like the straight more than the curly.
Yeah, I'm going to add more length to it for the November show, though, to help disguise the lack of waistline. It's all an illusion.
It's all an illusion, just like life. It's all an illusion.
Yep. Trick is when you're a boxier frame and you want to look like you got a waistline, you got to grow your upper and grow your lower. Well, I can only grow it so much in 6 weeks, but what we can grow
is a hair. Do you do it in like almost like an angle in order to illusion?
So more length, fuller, and then like tapered.
Got it. It's just like women and bronzer. So you can contour a face whenever you don't have any cheekbones.
Contouring this waistline with some hurt.
I love it. So my other learning moment this week is because of foundation leak. So I went on a home inspection last week, and we go down to the basement, and there is what appeared to be a massive wet spot on behind. So there was like a home gym set up, and then we saw a glimpse of it over by the weight rack. The next thing you know, the home inspector pulls it away, and then there's this huge spot that's like this big,
like on the wall, on the floor,
and in between the floor and the wall and the floor, where it connects. Yeah.
Okay.
And so we're like, oh no, it's an end-unit townhouse in Manassas City. I was like, the floor, it's basically clay over here. There's foundation issues all over Northern Virginia. I was like,
is this a cute little couple?
Yeah, cute little couple. I was like, this is about to be no bueno. And so the home inspector, of course, writes it up. When we go back and I call the foundation medics are like, oh, sorry, we're going to charge you $350 to come out and look at it. And we're like, nope. No, you're not. No, you're not. So I call a friend of mine who's a Class A contractor and has a lot of specialty. He's also the same person I called out whenever I had a 1900s farmhouse under contract. And he came down there and was like, Nicole, you're going to have to level this thing. Run. You got to run. So I brought him over there, and he said that when it's bone dry, he brought a moisture meter over there, and it's bone dry. He was able to stick his head behind the wall in the laundry room and see that there's no actual foundation cracks, because you can look in between drywall as long as there's an unfinished space. And he said what it was is the roof. The roof had just been replaced like 2 weeks prior or 3 weeks prior.
That's good.
And what happens is that the water was coming off of the roof and going down the side of the house because the gutters weren't properly connected and coming down the eaves of the house. And so what it was doing is running down the side of the house and then settling at the foundation because there was no French drain, there was no drain system, pulling it away from the side of the house. So there wasn't actually a foundation crack. It's just the water will seep in where it can, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a crack. It's just, that's why it's so important to have drains that pull the water away from the foundation of the house, because over time it can create the house to settle, it can create the cracks from shifting it, but it was just seeping in through the mortar.
So what do you do? Just adjust the placement of the gutters?
Yeah, and they already did that.
Oh,
so
okay.
It was
from prior to
from prior to.
Nice.
Because of that. So it turns out it wasn't a bad thing at all. They just spent $8,000 getting the roof replaced 2 weeks prior. They just didn't know because it was behind that weight bench.
Yeah.
So what could have potentially been a very scary situation to first-time home buyers turned out to be not so scary at all. But that's because we were able to get the professionals in there to have this conversation and all that jazz. Good. And the sellers were great. They're like, if there is anything wrong, we'll definitely take care of it. We want these kids to be able to to be able to move forward comfortably.
Oh, that makes me happy.
Yeah.
Because I really like them.
Yeah, they're really good. They're
Yeah.
really good.
I know they've been at it for a minute.
A minute.
Yeah.
Poor babies.
Poor babies.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. But that was a Manassas. So what are you seeing down in Embry? She got a pretty little listing down there on Apricot.
Yeah. This square footage sits a little longer. It's a big house, but ain't big enough apparently for who's moving into Embry right now. So I was just looking at days on market and comparing like size of homes. The big babies are going under contract super quick. I'm talking big, like 4,000 above grade.
Oh,
So
wow.
like
Yeah, that
6,000. And ours is, I want to say it's like 45 all in
Right.
ish, which is still a large home, but when you go into one that feels like it's like pumped up with helium, you know, it can feel smaller, even though it's got the open, you know, open living space and large master and all that stuff. So, had that conversation with my sellers, just preparing them for that. You know, we might sit a little bit longer than what some of the other stuff is that we've been seeing, move so quickly, but. And then it was, you know, Columbus Day weekend, and kids were off school on Monday, so people were probably traveling.
Yeah. It's
so.
never fun to put a house on the market whenever it's a holiday weekend. We learned that a couple of weeks ago, or like I guess a couple of
Yeah.
years ago.
Well, it's like you never know. Like, are people coming into home shop, or are people going away to vacay?
Right.
So you know, you just gotta get it on and see what happens.
It's true.
Oh,
Yeah, and in my experience, whether it be down in Stafford, because it's micro pockets too. Because if you
Yeah.
talk to agents who primarily work DC and different pockets in DC or Arlington or different areas in Fairfax County, they're probably going to have a different experience. But our experience in the locations that we've been selling in a lot lately is like we are getting a massive amount of showings. I mean, like last week I told you guys I had 90 something showings on a particular house. Now it's well over 100. We still don't have any offers, and it's mostly positive feedback. And the things that aren't positive feedback are things that we can't change about the property.
yeah.
But then, what is it? I have this massive, incredibly like gorgeous. I'm talking a gorgeous home that is for sale out in Manassas right now. And we just did a $75,000 price reduction. We were on the market for a week and a half, and we had 7 showings prior. Now we've had over 30 scheduled showings, and we have people circling but no offers and nothing but positive feedback, especially with the price reduction. So it's a really bizarre thing. I'm like, were people so burned out by what was happening? Now they're afraid to pull the trigger, and now the opposite is happening. It's
Yeah.
I can't quite put my finger on it, but what statistically took us 12, like every 12 showings, you statistically would receive an offer. Now, you know, I'm past 30 and got 0. And it's the same thing, and now I'm over 100 in the other property that I was talking about, and we've gotten 0.
absurd.
It's crazy. I don't like. I cannot wrap my head around it. And the feedback is like, oh, the house is everything is positive. It's priced appropriately. It's beautiful. Blah blah blah. So,
Yeah.
I got nothing. On that. Again, if you realtors out there have any feedback, what do you think is going on? Let us know.
Yeah.
Because it's not everywhere. Like I said, Belmont Bay, we can't keep things on the shelf. You know, things go up and 2-3 days later they're gone. But in different locations around Prince William County, Stafford County, that's just not the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
What else happened?
You gotta slow down on text messages.
Oh, yes. I damn near gave a seller a heart attack. We were talking price, and I was just like, texting really fast. And the price that I text, $100,000 difference than what we talked about. And so her response was like, wait, what? Didn't you say 5 blah, 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 blah? I was like, holy typo! Oh, I'm so sorry! Breathe! Yes, total typo. Disregard. 5 something. Blah, 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 blah. She was like, Jennifer, I was about to fire you. I was like, no, don't fire me. I'll slow down on my texting next
I was about
time.
to say she probably was texting and driving.
It's possible. All the more reason why you should talk to text, because I would have said the right number, but I
That's true.
text the wrong one.
She probably had fell off on a typo or
Gosh.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of typos, that's actually this is not my client, but it is relative to the story that we were
Oh,
telling.
yes.
Relative to the story we were telling earlier. So whenever we were looking at comps for our condo that was being appraised, all of a sudden one popped up at random, as 100 and something thousand or
Yeah, like
$200,000. I think it was actually $200,000.
It was like $200,000.
Yeah, $200,000 difference, and it popped up and sold. And thankfully, we know this agent, and Jen reached out and was like,
I was like, I'm sorry, what was your close price? Congratulations on closing, but what was your price?
Right. And they were like, oh, yeah, it's like, this house isn't even closed yet. I don't even know how it got, it got moved over, blah, blah, blah. So it was typos, man. Just
had me assessing all the listings coming on like, well, we all going up 200.
Right? Like, how did this happen?
Whoa.
Yeah. So just be careful, be mindful. Don't move too fast. So that's that's an excellent learning moment. Is slow down with everything.
Everything.
That's a true story.
Oh man.
Oh, and this is a story, more like a learning moment, and we can end on that, my dear. What is this?
What is this? Communication, text, email, call. Husband, lots of communication happens that records the transaction. Yeah. So, I mean, this kind of goes with like the slowing down too. You know, we get so wrapped up in like moving quickly and getting the transaction ready to go and getting listings ready. And, you know, as an agent, we're already communicating with our clients, but then we, on the team, you know, one of the perks of having the team is we have all these resources to utilize with, you know, listing coordination, marketing, you know, the data entry, everything that it sometimes can become too many cooks in the kitchen when you've got a micromanager like me. And so I have to remember to convey all of the communication styles to the support system.
Oh, that's a good idea. You should say that in team meeting today.
Yeah.
Because that's not something that I've like given any thought either. Because you know it, that's something that we're trained to ask right off the bat. Is like, how do you prefer to communicate?
Right. And twice now I've received emails from the support asking like, what's their preferred means? I'm like, oh God, I'm so sorry. I should have told you that. So I'm going to start putting that. We've got a listing entry that we use in Brevity. I'm going to start putting that in my notes. Yeah.
Thing.
And who to communicate with, because it's not always the person who's on, which is, I know it's funny, but the person on title, let's say it's hubby, might not be the person you want to actually communicate with. It might be wifey who's running the ship.
Right.
So, you know, not getting wrapped up in just the name on the listing or, you know, the buyer rep agreement or what have you, but just making sure that that communication is really clear between client and team and agent and all that good stuff.
It's true.
Yeah.
We're in a little bit of a learning phase too in our team because we're growing and we've had an additional support staff and trying to make sure that everybody is on the same page. It's always fun.
Yeah. And keeping that level of service, you know, making sure that we're still available, because I mean, you know, I want to talk to my client through the transaction a lot, just because I want to like take temperature checks, make sure they're still feeling good, you know, if they're confused by anything, all that stuff.
For sure.
And so, yeah.
Well, keep on checking that temperature, sis. Anywho, that's just a little pulse take. Anywho, that's really all we have for you today on today's reality or dose of reality. I keep making
favorite food last week.
Favorite food last week. Oh man. Probably the same thing, that mother clucker.
Yeah.
That thing was so good. Maple bacon pizza from Third Base.
Ooh,
maple
bacon pizza.
Yeah,
Not the one that you created.
The one that I created was really good. So there's a pizza place over in Occoquan that is
so good,
literally to die for. Every time we go over there, it's just like heaven in your mouth. I don't know what they do to this pizza or what they put in their crust, but it's like, it's so good. So you can do half a pizza. So we always get the maple bacon whenever we go over there, which sounds like it wouldn't be great, but it's spectacular.
Heavenly.
But then I decided to make my own side of the pizza because I'm also going through this whole health journey trying to figure out what I can and cannot eat, and I'm really not supposed to eat a lot of the stuff that I typically eat, like red meats and cheese and all this other stuff.
Maple bacon pizza.
Yeah, maple bacon pizza, all that. So I made a pizza that it was an olive oil base, ricotta, which yes, I know is a cheese, but it has less stuff in it than the rest of the world of cheeses. But anyway, so it was a olive oil base, ricotta, spinach, onions, banana pepper. Did I have banana peppers on it?
I had banana
You
pepper
have banana pepper on yours, and then something else. Oh, a garlic
drizzle.
Yeah, a garlic drizzle on
that
top.
garlic with money.
Oh my God, it was phenomenal. I was like, I should be a pizza maker. I was like, I'm out of real estate, guys. I'm opening up a pizza shop, or I'm just gonna go.
Speaking of pizza, apparently there's a new pizza spot in Canole up in West Virginia.
Oh.
Bobo said that it is the best pizza he's had outside of Italy.
Really? So wow. Okay,
Yep.
so they've knocked Siriano's out of the pizza spot, huh?
He said it makes Siriano's look like a joke.
Dang.
And actually the woman who owns the building that the pizza place is in. She lives up here over in Yacht Haven.
Wow,
yeah, our little
fancy
neighbor
pants.
Mary.
I
yeah.
love that. Well, whenever it's snow season, we'll have to go because all the slopes are open back up again up there, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So that's exciting. So we'll have to go get pizza in the next couple months.
I'm already itching. Yeah. And planning post show for November. It's Italian for me.
It's the Italian for me.
This week. We'll see what
it is next week and the week after. It always changes. But she did stick to her pancakes, which was
cinnamon Danish. Holy deliciousness. Cream cheese drizzle. Cinnamon swirl pancakes. Butter. Magic. I don't do syrup. I even tried a little bit of syrup on a piece.
No. I don't like syrup either.
Didn't need it.
Yeah. Because pancakes should be very good on their own, in my opinion.
So good. Hour and a half wait at Miss Shirley's. Worth it.
Incredible. Well, anyways, guys, you should go try all the food places that we talked about. Doghouse in Bethesda, Third Base in Occoquan, and Miss Shirley's in Annapolis.
Yep, and Miss Shirley's, they're in Baltimore, also in Annapolis. Doghouse, I think they've got one in Arlington, too.
What?
Tag us.
Noted.
At me.
Anyways, love your faces. If you need anybody to buy or sell a house, come call us. Bye, y'all.
Toodles.